Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. It is the High Noon Hemp Show 100th episode. Welcome, everyone. It is high noon. It is Wednesday. And here I sit high above the hemp quarters in Sharonville, Ohio. For the High Noon Hemp Show, you can see we don't have our official graphics and all that other stuff, but I have figured out how to do some really cheap, low-grade hemp graphics. Look at that; it's printed on hemp, and so there's our good old graphic for the 100th episode. Welcome, welcome. I'll spin it. These graphics are insane. Anyway, welcome everybody. It is high noon. It is time for the High Noon Hemp Show. I am Beach. I am here. We're doing this thing one way or another because we have finally made it to the 100th episode. As you can see, the graphics may be a little bit different if you're used to the old style. We're working through some stuff, but I gotta have the show go on, especially for we just the world needs the High Noon Hemp Show, so I'm giving you the High Noon Hemp Show. I have been thinking about it. 100 episodes. Wow, we've done this 100 times, one way or another. And there's a couple not High Noon Hemp shows that I did where we had technical difficulties, and so I guess those are like the outtakes of the show. But here we are, ready to go to syndication. If anybody wants to pick us up, TBS, Sci-Fi, somebody pick us up. We can now go to syndication officially. Anyway, 100 episodes. A couple that we've done. I know. Oh, of course, Josie's going to come in and go on. You're done. I'm doing something. And of course, Josie's going to interrupt the 100th episode because that is the way it's going to go. It's 2020, so that's the way it goes. But a couple of the episodes I think that I remember for sad reasons are a couple of the memorial episodes when my cousin Carrie, who was literally the High Noon Hemp Show's biggest fan, she watched the show every week. She was taken to us early. And then when my friend Tom, an employee Tom worked for me for a long time. When he passed, we dedicated an episode to him. And so, those are probably the two that stick out mostly. I do know that I think the episodes I had the funnest doing were the Hemp Week episodes, or possibly the Earth Day episodes, because I think that's where I really delved into all things hemp, especially Hemp History Week. That show, both of the ones that we have done since we have been doing this, went a little bit longer because I went through, the history myself. And so some of the history of the 2.8 million year old hemp cannabis plant, so to speak. And so 100 episodes, here we are. We're chugging along, even though we're, kind of low grade. I feel like this is like COVID-19. We went backwards a little bit. And again, this is not related to COVID-19 whatsoever. This is just related to technical issues that we're having with vMix call. Honestly, I feel like it's got to be their technology. I'm logging in. Joe's not showing up. And so whatever it is, it's with them, which is aggravating because it worked so well for 98 episodes. So who knows? If not, we might try something new. I hate to say that we may no longer be live in front of a studio internet audience, so to speak. This may be the last time, after 100 episodes, maybe the last time that we are live in front of our internet, because we may start pre-recording the show and then playing it, broadcasting it at high noon. So we'll see how it all works out. But thank you all, everyone that has ever watched the High Noon Hemp Show. Again, you can go to YouTube and check them out. We turn it into a podcast, and you can go check that out if you'd like, if you just want to hear the sound of my voice, which really makes sense now that we're, the graphics are kind of what they are, so to speak. We looked like we were really together before. So I still like we're really, really together still. We just don't look like it. So anyway, thanks everybody for the 100 episodes. Let's get on to the product spotlight. What I did here is I just printed out a good old picture of the pictures that I take. So this picture here is, these are new hemp cases for your pre-rolled, filtered hempettes, they're calling them. We carry probably 5 different filtered pre-rolls of CBD flower. And so, if you enjoy that, then you can put them in your nice little hemp case. And they have different covers. Each store probably has different patterns as far as what's on there, as well as the same company's doing these new lighter holders, hemp. And again, they have a lot of aliens on the lighter holders, I noticed, for some reason or another. Aliens and hemp, I guess that goes together for some reason. I don't know why, but we have, for some reason I did notice, at least here in the Sharonville store. And again, every store probably has a different little bit of selection with different little patterns on each one of these little hemp items there. And then we can just, I guess we just do that, right? Wow, look at me. We're scrolling graphics, old school way. Here we have some new brownies and cookies. And the thing about these is they are a huge amount of CBD. This is definitely a nighttime snack, if you ask me. Unless you're dealing with daily issues that are quite extreme. Because a half of one of these, they're 135 milligrams of CBD. So half of one of those is still 65, 70 milligrams. And that is a lot. And so I really think a half of a half, a quarter of these. So you could get one of these and enjoy them over 4 nights if you wanted to use it. But if you really wanted to, a half is totally good. And so those are new from Ochita Farms. We've got some of their other products also that we've got on the shelves now. And then here you can see the old soaps, old handmade local soaps have been restocked. So we were running pretty low on those. Can boost that up a little bit there. Let me zoom in. I act like I'm clicking on something. Click, 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 click. Anyway. And so anyway, the homemade soaps made out of Dayton, locally made, have been restocked. So if your store's been out of those, you should be back up with that. Hand soap is something that we are selling a lot of. So there you have it on the product spotlight. 4 from the store, and of course you have 4 from the store and then 1 from my door in the product spotlight. All the products just shown should be at any one of the Hemptations locations. And the next item that I'm going to show is something that it is a personal item of mine, which everyone has seen. I think both of these in the product spotlight. The thing about the product spotlight is if we had 400 different products, that would be awesome. But we've had to kind of double, show the same products over. I did product lines for probably the first 100 items or so, each product line, and then I started breaking it down into specific product lines and whatnot, because we have literally shown 400 products on the product spotlight over 100 episodes, and some of them have been shown more than once, obviously, because as much as I would love to have 400 different hemp lines, so to speak, we definitely have 400 different hemp products, but to have 400 different hemp lines of product, that's huge. Anyway, so there you have it. 4 from the store. The one from my door are two items that I carry every day. And I've been thinking about, they say that the pen is mightier than the sword. And of course, unless you're in a sword fight, you have to remember that. So I thought this week I would actually show, for the 100th episode, two of my personal items, my pen and my sword, both made out of hemp. Both I carry with me all the time. And so I think it's important to have both, because your pen can put you in situations that are good for you in life. The more you write, the more you know, the more you do. That is for sure. And so, and of course, a good old knife always comes in handy. I'm not saying you got to stick somebody with it. I'm just saying a knife does come in handy one way or another. And I think I said this last week, ironically, or I was just talking to someone about this. Violence is always the last answer. If it can't be solved with 10 other questions and answers, then I don't know what to tell you, to be honest with you, because honestly, violence should never be the answer. But sometimes violence has to be the last answer. We don't like it. But it's the reality of the world. I've always said that if I had 3 wishes, I don't know how I could do it. It would either be I would wish for peace on earth, so to speak, and I have to word that correctly somehow. I don't know if that's how you would do it. Or I would actually wish for the banishment of all projectile weapons. That way, if we did have to settle things, we could at least settle face to face, which I still don't think is fair. Because just because someone's bigger than you or a better fighter than you definitely doesn't mean that their ideology is better than yours. And that's just a ridiculous war philosophy to begin with. Yeah, because my army is stronger than yours, then you should give to the will of me and my ideology. Anyway, and so the pen is mightier than the sword, unless you're in a sword fight. But if you have both, then you're always prepared. So anyway, here's 2 from mine. I always carry my hemp pen, as you're going to see in the next episode, that if Joe was here, he would be raving about the next segment of the show, because here we are, 100. If you have asked the question 100 times, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you're going to know what I would wear to celebrate the 100th episode. And I really had to kind of think about it. I definitely wanted to go green, as you can see, and I will show the whole outfit in a minute. This is also the time where I like to take a little drink of my coffee out of my hemp mug, because I love it so much. Normally, again, Joe would be talking. He'd be saying, hey, I bet you can't wait to see what Beach is going to be wearing for the What Are You Wearing Beach segment. And now you're going to know with my next fancy graphic that you will see. And so from the top, and let's see, I think if I hold it like this, so we go like that. From the top to the bottom, as it always is, I've got my Make America Hemp, again, hat. Definitely one of my favorite hats right now. Definitely a great message for America and hemp, no doubt about it. And of course, green, like I said, is the main theme, because hemp is as green gets. My crop circle absolute hemp tea, which is pretty old, I will have to say. How's that graphic holding up? Hey, pretty good. And my Kentucky Hemp Outfitters jeans, again, my favorite jeans in the world. I don't know how many pairs of Hemp Outfitters jeans, but it's a lot. My Green Springs Technology pen, you'll see that in my pocket there, of course, always with me. My head case briefs, classic, some of the probably oldest briefs that I own. Story socks and New Balance sneaks. And so there you have it. If you're asking yourself, what are you wearing, Beach, on your 100th episode of the High Noon Hemp Show, now you know. There it is. That is the outfit. Not a whole lot of news going on in the world, honestly. It's kind of the slow hemp Newsweek, as far as what I could find out there on my hemp news feeds, to see what I can come up with. I did see, and I do want to show a picture of this, an interview with Greg Wilson, who is the founder of Hempwood. And what I learned most and what was fascinating about their whole operation is they got a special permit, special certification to be exempt from the controlled substance list because they only work with the stalk. Now, of course, hemp is off the controlled substance list to begin with, but again, it's just kind of interesting how I don't know what they had to do to get their business off the controlled substance list because they were dealing with cannabis. But I really wonder if that means that they can take stock from anything or not. I don't know. Here's a little sample pic of what the Hempwood is looking like. You'll also see on the Hemptations Beach page, I just posted a post, reposted a pic of Hempwood outlet covers and switch covers, which is super cool. That's again a decorative item. The Hempwood looks this Hempwood looks a lot different than the particle board that we're used to. It has so much more detail and stuff going on a larger scale. It's really unique for a wood, and I think once it really catches on and the price starts to come down, I think as a fashion wood, especially an eco-fashion wood, it's really, because that's what we're really seeing now, is we're really seeing kind of more high-end items. I've seen lamps made out of the hemp wood, just these beautiful lamps. We're seeing the outlet covers, things like that. And I think they're kind of more on the higher end scale of things because the hemp wood is still expensive because they're making it here in the United States. He moved his operation from China, I believe, too, if I read the interview correctly. Once it would start to become legal here, once it became legal here, so to speak. And so, it's still very expensive to make the hemp wood that they're making. And so the next move is, start to bringing that cost down to see, everyday use. But for now, we're seeing kind of more high-end use for it, which is, again, super cool. I want to figure out how to buy some and make some really cool-looking thing myself. But again, right here in the United States, down in Kentucky, around the Murray, Kentucky area, I believe, is where the Hempwood plant is. And they've been in operation now, I'm going to guess, probably 6 months at least. Maybe a year even at this point. And so, good for them, chugging along, doing their thing, making hemp wood. We stop cutting down trees, make everything out of hemp wood. Wouldn't that be great? It would. I'm telling you. Pun intended. Excuse me. I don't know if it's a fun little article, but article on a 10-year-old who has Tourette's syndrome, using CBD, and he says, I really don't twitch as much, blink as much, move around, get shaky, and he says it really, really helps him. So, I think that, and I can't believe that, that they're not working more on things like that, because we already know that CBD, THC, those things help with those type of disorders, Parkinson's. I think when it's like uncontrollable twitching, and I don't know the medical term or reason for that, but there are a lot of diseases that come with that as a side effect. We're definitely going to see how CBD can help with that for sure. So I can definitely see how CBD could help with Tourette's, and here's a little boy that's proving that. And again, I don't know why they don't want to listen to the adults that this helps, but when you start seeing results in kids, you start seeing results in the public. Charlotte's Web is what started this whole thing. I will give the Charlotte Web breeders credit for starting the whole thing. And Charlotte was a young girl who benefited from CBD. And so that's when they started breeding. Hemp became legal, so to speak, and so they started breeding the THC basically out of some cannabis strains, and came up with Charlotte's Web as a strain, I believe. And that's what started it all. And so, it really is ridiculous. And this is because when it comes to adults, they say, well, go to a doctor and start taking pills and this and that, and keep doing this and keep doing that because you're an adult. And they ignore natural medicines, but which is just, again, a ridiculous ideology to begin with. But then when one kid comes out, more parents will start looking into it, and again, then we'll start seeing, more. And again, the CBD medical studies should be they should be going crazy with them. CBD is not on the controlled substance list anymore. There's nothing preventing the medical world to do legitimate medical studies on CBD now. And so we should just be being, and I do feel like hopefully, even within the next year or two, we're going to see actual more studies, because it's, we have to catch up with it becoming legal. It didn't come off the controlled substance list until the last farm bill, so that was only 2 years ago. And so that's got to catch up with the medical world realizing, hey, this is not on the controlled substance list. We should be doing studies because we can prove one way or another. Even if it just proves to the shady pharmaceutical companies that and they will of course start synthesizing it, and so but the proof that it works is more proof that you can just walk into any reliable CBD store, whether it's Temptations or anyone else, and get what you need to relieve what you need. It's just more validication that, is that a word, validication? I don't know if that, I think I combined two words there possibly. I like to do that on occasion, especially the longer words. The longer the words are that I'm trying to combine, the better the word is that I end up with. But anyway, that, yes, CBD works. It helps, hundreds if not thousands of our customers. I don't want to say thousands because it seems like a lot, but we have a lot of CBD customers, especially reoccurring customers, and so it's proven there. Once the medical world starts to do it, then yay for it, because that's what needs to happen. Then of course the FDA, they're in discussions right now, and in fact they're being poked. I heard there was a strongly worded letter to the FDA from a senator or something, some government person, saying you guys need to do something about this so that we can move forward with it. And really all they really need to do is declare it as GRAS, G-R-A-S, generally regarded as safe. And then that opens up the availability to put it in foods legitimately and be able to still have an FDA or be legitimately recognized by the FDA, because we can't do that now because there is no official FDA stance or whatever on CBD as being safe. And so They just need to figure out how to do that, and then there's a lot of controversy still in the CBD world when it comes to edibles, mostly because of where the FDA stands. And so again, they're overseeing the industry as they oversee a lot of industries, but only on the labeling aspect of it right now. And so they can come in if you don't have 100 milligrams of CBD in your 100 milligram CBD product, and the FDA can come in and do something about that. And then again, the labeling aspect of it is you can't obviously make any medical claims. That's a big no-no. But you can't give it any nutritional value or generalize, I believe, what it is for in food products, as well as maybe a lot of industries. And that's why there's a lot of vagueness as well. And so that gets confusing to the consumer. So hopefully the FDA, after being poked a little bit recently, may get to deciding officially what we can and can't do as far as labeling and whatnot as far as hemp foods. So we will see. The last little bit of news is about Delta-3 Carene. Okay, Delta-3 Carene, C-A-R-E-N-E. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's the medical pronunciation or not, but it's a terpene, and they're proving that this one is good. It promotes healthy bones. I'll say probably 6 months ago, I did see an article, or a year ago, I saw an article, I believe that was a study that was going to investigate whether CBD is good for bone growth. And so this is kind of interesting, and I don't know if this came out of that study in a weird, or this is just totally different. But somehow, and again, this is the other thing. These are the things with, say, industrial hemp. We put this terpene in, or this terpene is in industrial hemp. Then once again, we can actually do medical studies to prove things. And so, this is a good way to get around, as long as it's not a THC. And again, we're making CBD strains out of all the THC strains. And so what we're doing is say we're taking sour diesel and we're breeding the THC out of the sour diesel and probably somehow boosting the CBD, or sour diesel is already high in CBD, and I haven't done that investigation to see whether the original sour diesel is high in CBD, as whatever the THC. But again, and so breeding that THC out of it and trying to keep, I believe, its terpene flavors, or its terpenes and all the other legal cannabinoids, bringing that CBD up. And so the sour diesel CBD flower is still going to have those terpenes that the medical world can wholeheartedly study, because guess what? They're not on the controlled substance list, because industrial hemp flower is not on the controlled substance list. So, that opens up, again, just as I was saying before, huge implications. Here again, we're proving, because we're discovering all these, we're pinpointing, and again, they've been doing this for a long time. But now, again, because it's somewhat legitimate to do the studies, we're actually seeing these specific cannabinoids and terpenes and all these things popping up and saying, okay, this, here it is. What's it do? Here's what it does. And so that's true, obviously, with Delta-3 Carene, the terpene. And so, find out if you have bone issues. Stop drinking dairy milk. It's my first suggestion. But possibly look into, if you use cannabis, look into cannabis's with Delta 3 carrying in them because that promotes healthy bones. All right, there's the news. There is only one event that I can really talk about, I suppose, but it's the Hemp Farm Summit, Pickaway County here in Ohio. Circleville, Ohio specifically, is happening November 7th. And so it's not too far away. This event, which has only really been going on for 2 or 3 years, it was actually going on before Ohio was one of the last states to legalize industrial hemp, if you don't know. This was going on before Ohio was growing. But, there was a lot of people showing interest in it. It was a great event from the beginning and has done nothing but grown in the last 3 years to be semi-decent to huge event, in my opinion, all based on industrial hemp farming and hemp byproducts and products and whatnot. And so, obviously, it's going to be probably a little different this year, but I am sure that they will, wear a mask. They will have social distancing rules and whatnot if you plan on going. If you're in Ohio and you want to become an Ohio hemp farmer, this is a great place to go. If you, want to get into hemp in any form at all in Ohio, this is a great place to go and be educated all under one roof, under, people that do a little bit of everything in the hemp world, especially now, once again, that we're growing. I think the most interesting thing that I would, if I went, would be talking to some Ohio hemp farmers or listening to some Ohio hemp farmers if they speak to see how that went. We've heard some have some interesting, and of course I've said this from the beginning, Ohio's program is not farmer friendly, and so I know that all the way down to, just like I thought, to the end of the year, testing and all that, it became a hassle because of the way Ohio was testing. And again, one of the most ridiculous rules is saying you have to test 2 weeks before you're going to pull your plants. That's just, a timing test is ridiculous. But anyway, so I'm sure that there are going to be some interesting tales told to the struggles as well. I don't think it's going to be, definitely not going to be all roses, not in Ohio. And so I should say it's not going to be all hemp plants. No. Because there is going to be, I'm sure there was some issues. I know there were some issues. I know some farmers had some issues. And so anyway, it would be interesting to see, though, how it generally went in the first year that Ohio did grow industrial hemp. I'm kind of more curious about the numbers. How many acres did we actually have? How many people was there a bunch of stuff that didn't make it? I haven't heard those things yet in Ohio. I talked to some farmers about the testing part in the end of the year, and I know that there were some struggles there. And so we'll see how that ends up, all in all, one way or another. Well, there you have it, folks. The 100th episode of the High Noon Hemp Show. Can you believe it? It seems so normal, and less normal than a normal show. If you watch the show normally, you'd get that. And so I truly appreciate everyone from episode 1 to episode 100 that has watched the High Noon Hemp Show. We do it every week. I didn't know that we'd get this far, and this might be the new normal. No, we're gonna figure something out. But if this is the new normal, this is the new normal, and we go from here. Because I can't let my audience down. My live internet audience, even if we go to a pre-recorded, we'll still be here, high noon, at least on the Hemptations Beach page. I'm sure we're still trying to figure out how to make it so, again, we can go live on YouTube at least. and then maybe Twitter. But I think we might be able to do it not live, pre-recorded, broadcast high noon on the Hemptations Beach Facebook page and the Jedi Hemp Channel YouTube page. And again, of course, you can go back on the Jedi Hemp channel and watch all the previous episodes of the High Noon Hemp Show, if you so desire. And of course, we have the podcast out there. You can go to hemptations.com for more information about the stores and stuff we have going on, which is pretty much nothing like everywhere else. And the other what not, so to speak. You can go to planeteverywhere.com and you can shop online off the first page of hemptations.com, or you can check out all our products at planeteverywhere.com as well. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations